Hillary Clinton is reportedly trying to calm fears about Biden's campaign. She told Democrats Biden cannot be forced out of the race. Tomi Lahren is with us. You know, it sounds like she's defending Biden. I'm surprised at that because I thought she was aligned with Obama, and Obama's undermining Biden.
Listen, I think Hillary Clinton is incredibly self-serving. A couple things here. I don't think that Hillary Clinton cares much for Kamala Harris. I don't think Jill Biden cares much for Kamala Harris either. That might have something to do with it. And on the other side of that, I also think this. I think Hillary Clinton is so indulgent. I think that she wants her party to stick with Biden. I think she's okay with Biden losing to Donald Trump because I think she's still so bitter that she lost to Donald Trump that she doesn't want Joe to defeat Donald Trump for a second time because it still bothers her so much that she lost to Donald Trump in 2016. I don't think Hillary Clinton cares as much about her party or certainly this country as she does about herself, her legacy. And I also think that she says these things so that we talk about Hillary Clinton.
That's right. That's right.
She loves it when we're talking about her. Everything always has to come back to Hillary. She'll never stop. She's the Christmas fruitcake that won't go away, and we're stuck with her.
That's an interesting line, the Christmas fruitcake that won't go away.
That's Hillary.
Does anybody still give fruitcakes anymore?
Yeah. They used to be used as door stoppers when I was a kid, but that's another story. Let's move on. The Democratic Socialists of America have pulled their endorsement of squad member Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez because she thinks Israel has a right to exist. Oh, apart from that's nonsense. I mean, that shows a Democrat Party split for the ages. I mean, it's huge.
Not only that, but why do these people want to proclaim themselves to be Democrat socialists in the first place? That's already concerning, but now she's lost this endorsement. This just goes to show how radical part of the Democrat Party is. I also think when we're talking about the whole President Biden stepping down conversation, the squad has also had President Joe Biden's back. Yeah. They're not calling for his head, which is very odd because they're the most radical faction. So maybe some of them are worried about their own races. We saw what happened to Representative Jamal Bowman. Maybe they're staying tight-lipped. Maybe they're trying to appear less radical because they're worried about the squad. Everybody in the Democrat Party is very self-serving. Most politicians are, but very curious that the squad is choosing to stand behind Joe. You'd think maybe they would stand behind Kamala Harris first, female black woman president. Boy,
wait a second.
Isn't that their thing?
A vote for Biden, if he becomes the president, if he gets re-elected, then he's, I mean, to put it mildly, he's unlikely to be still the president in 20, whatever it is. It's going to be the vice president. It's going to be Kamala Harris. And the squad would love to have Kamala Harris as the president.
I don't know if they would or not. None of them have been really rallying around her either. It's very interesting. There are very few people that will publicly talk about how much they love Kamala Harris. I don't see a lot of people. Up until maybe a week and a half ago when we were talking about replacements for Joe Biden, Kamala's name wasn't even in the mix. It hasn't been up until the last maybe week that people have, I think, from an obligation standpoint, talked about Kamala. But in the early discussions, it's all been about Gavin, Gretchen. Kamala's name was way down that list, and she's the current vice president. That's got to sting.
We've got like a snowballing movement here of more and more Democrats saying the president should step aside. What do you think? Should he stay or should he go after you saw last night's press conference?
Listen, I'm not a Democrat, so I don't care what they do. Quite honestly, they should figure out what they want to do amongst themselves. It's chaos. I have maintained for years now that Joe Biden will not be their nominee. You can't put that genie back in the bottle when you've had Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and many others come out not defending him, maybe being a little tight-lipped about it, and there's some that have just quite honestly said he's got to go. I don't think you can reverse that now. There's a mutiny. There's an insurrection within the Democrat Party, and you can't reverse that snowball.
But you want Biden to be the candidate, don't you? Because you think that Trump will beat him.
I think Trump could easily defeat Kamala Harris as well. So if it's either of those two, I think it's pretty easy. I've always said I think Governor Gavin Newsom is tougher to beat. But if they're going to go with Joe or Kamala, I mean, have at it and best of luck to you.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
So much.
Tomi Lahren, you're all right. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you guys.